What is going on, governors? Chisgule here, and today we're watching Cortex at about 108 million power getting imprisoned in Kingsland. He gets rallied, he gets double rallied, and he gets rallied again, and in each of these reports he's going to go insanely positive. And you'll notice something funky as we start to go through this, which is that he's got an insane amount of archers in his city, so he goes with an Tomyris city garrison. It sounds weird, but I think you'll see that it works extremely well, especially in this version of KVK. Now, as we watch this first rally, we're watching Saladin Khan doing work. And I have to say, like, if you're going to rally an archer city, I feel like Saladin Khan in KVK Season 3 is a pretty solid choice. I will say maybe there's something you can do that's better than Cavs in general for rallying a city, but I feel like this combo is totally fair to use for rallying a city. Saladin even has the extra 15% all damage at the cost of being able to plunder the city. Now, plundering the city, as it turns out, is not going to be relevant in this particular exchange. Cortex's allies start to swarm the rally here, and that is going to give him certainly all the cover he needs to not even have his hospital overflow in this first run. Keep in mind the hospital capacity is 690,000 when everything is completely maxed out here. And this is KVK Season 3, Light versus Darkness. They are in Kingsland, and Cortex is on enemy territory. And at this point, by the way, the only troop type he has left in his city is archers. He actually has full archers in his city at this moment. And boom, he gets the Fate Changer. Hospital's not even full. 615,000. He does need to pop some tokens to actually heal all those troops, but he fires that up right away. Now, technically, a slightly more safe approach here. Oh, hold on. Let's just look at this real quick. 668,000 versus like 1.3, 1.4 million dead troops. So that's like a full hospital versus all those dead troops on the opposing side. And you can see here that Cortex had just a ton of archers in his city. He's like 3 mil archers, T5, and then under a mil of infantry and cavalry. Now, this is where the double rally comes in, okay? And the Saladin Esong, I think, is not a great choice. I really feel like Khan was the better pick here. I guess if you're worried about getting swarmed and you want to do more damage to the swarmers, like the Esong does a little bit there, but it's just not what I would run, I think. Going back to that KVK, I think, you know, in the field, Saladin with Esong is a fine combo. Would I rally a city with it? Personally, probably not. I do kind of wonder, I guess people these days aren't really going for Edward of Woodstock with Tommy as a combo. Like, it's just not a great use of sculptures, but here's the double. If you had an Edward Tommy, it would be insane here. This is an Alexander the Great with Charles Martel second rally. And the problem is that Charles Martel does a lot from his fourth skill, increasing your counterattack damage by 30%. Well, guess what doesn't work if you're not getting hit? It's counterattack damage. So this rally is not yet being targeted by Cortex's city, so the counterattack damage here is really kind of irrelevant. It's like when you multi-rally with a bunch of Attila Takedas. I mean, you can do it. It has anti-swarm, but a big portion of their damage is the counterattack, which isn't even happening at all because they're not being targeted beyond the first rally. Now that the first rally has died off and the Alexander the Great Charles Martel rally is getting focused, okay, now the counterattack damage is doing its work, but this rally is not going to last very long, and Cortex's hospital, once again, will not overflow. This is absolutely insane. We see here 606,000 in the hospital. Not a big deal. I think the Khan definitely would have been a better choice there. For that double rally especially, you just want to crank that damage. Here is another rally on Cortex City, and the Imprisoned is worn off, by the way. We're using Saladin Esong here for the rally again, which, I mean, I've shared my thoughts that I don't think that's the best rally. I think probably Edward with Tommy would be your best rally here. I think Esong with El Cid, isn't that good back in that version of KVK? And then that rally ends, 138,000 in the hospital. Wow. So Cortex is made out really, really well here. I have some detailed reports for you in-game, so let's get a look at that now. This is the first rally on Cortex's city with the Saladin Khan, and 668,000 in the hospital versus 1.35 million dead troops is an astonishing trade. The power trade looks fairly even, though, because a lot of what's in this rally is, of course, T4. This is KVK Season 3. Not everybody's running around with T5. And even when you get to later seasons of KVK, people will still use some T4s. And if we look at the troop buffs here, let's just get a look at the stats flying around for this particular battle. Cortex has 231 archer attack. He's got 176 archer defense, 99% archer health. Okay, he's got a bunch of base stats, the iconics, all giving him some really solid boosts here. And he's got 11% all damage. And 69% skill damage. Geez, 10% extra counterattack. We look at the rally, okay? Cav stats. We'll get a look here. 208% cav attack. We're looking at 163% cav defense, 123.5. Okay, 123.5 cavalry health. I mean, they are running a lot of health gear on this rally. It seems like it's a pretty legit set of gear on this rally. The iconics, however, are a little bit low here. They probably just don't have access or haven't gotten a bunch of iconics yet. Maybe they don't even have all legendary gear. Hard to say. All damage is chilling at about 10% here. So Cortex defends this really well. And I'm going to talk about this Tomyris choice for defending a city because there is a method to the madness. And as we looked at earlier in this sort of video as it was going down, 3.2 million archers is big. He's got 860,000 cavalry. He's got 950,000 infantry. Surprisingly, he does have a lot of siege, 194,000 of his siege here. I wonder, like T1, I do wonder you could have like maybe set a rally to get them out of your city. That's probably an option. One player did reinforce him, by the way, dropping in some T5s and some T4s into Cortex's city. But you're probably really interested in a couple things. First of all, the AoE is absolutely bonkers. Ethelflaed, no secondary, gets clapped for 117k dead, 34k dead on another target, 275,000 dead troops. Oh my god, their siege. GG on those siege, really? 50k dead, 31k dead, 86k, 139, 58k, 23k. I mean, Esong is doing what Esong does, right? 81,000, 22,000. But let's get a look here at the double rally, okay? That was the first, now the double. 613,000 in the hospital for Cortex, and also some of that is, I guess somebody popped in his city. There's 16,000 dead. That dead number is from somebody reinforcing his city. 1 million dead for the rally is brutal. Cruising down through this report, you're going to see there's a ton of AoE here, another 110k dead. Here's the second rally, under 100,000 for Cortex, and then 175,000 dead for that second rally. Alexander the Great, Charles Martel, I think is a fine rally in this version of KVK. However, you really want that rally to tank if that's what you're going to send. Bunch of dead troops from AoE there as well. And we'll just show you the third rally report here. And a bonus fourth rally, by the way, on Cortex's city later on in the KVK. 181,000 Sev wounds for Cortex. This is 174,000 dead for the rally. That was the third rally in on his city. And last but not least, a bonus fourth rally on his city. This happened, I think he was saying it was before the Imprisoned went down. 174,000 in the hospital for Cortex, 207,000 dead for the attackers here. And there's that Edward Tommy that I was talking about being really good. But why in the world is Cortex using Tomyris? And this is something definitely deserving of a little bit of attention. The Esong, of course, makes sense, given the fact that he's got all these archers in his city, and it's a great garrison in that flavor of KVK, right? But the Tomyris, what's good here? The damage factor in this early flavor of KVK is pretty good, okay? He was getting, I would say, most of the time, less than 10 stacks of poison to get the extra damage, but he does, I don't know, around 40% of the time, I'm just guessing, based off the footage, sort of pop off with really high skill damage, getting over 10 stacks of poison. For those wondering, Tommy does stack poison on the target, making them take extra skill damage. So not only is he getting the benefit of that, but also his active skill hits a lot harder. The second skill on Tommy is only relevant for hitting cities, so this doesn't do anything for you. But the next skill makes it so you get 30% increased attack, and all attacks have a 10% chance to reduce the target's defense. So given that he's mostly archers, I mean, this is pretty nice, but the expertise is actually shockingly good for defending your city. He gets 10% more attack for all troop types. He gets 10% increased counterattack damage, which was great in this multi-rally situation. And when attacked, it reduces the attack of cavalry units. Well, he was getting rallied by cavalry. So the expertise skill on Tommy is deceptively good for defending a city. And I actually think that the combo worked really well. There are, of course, other considerations in this version of KVK. For example, Cortex would have had access to El Cid. You may think El Cid, well, let me tell you, El Cid was the original tech swap-in early KVKs because of his fourth skill. When you get below 50%, you do 25% all damage. And if you think the poison stacks, stacking up sometimes up to 30% more skill damage, and sometimes below that, sometimes a little more, if you think that's good, what about 25% all damage? I mean, 25% all damage, that's your normals, your counters, and your skill attacks, right? So El Cid is actually deceptively good, particularly for a 1v1 situation, particularly as a swap-in once your city health is below 50%. Now, the rest of his kit is just fine, right? Like 1,000 damage factor and disabling normal attacks and active skills is not amazing, okay? The chance to get 1,000 damage factor, 10% proc, right? It's okay. The 20% archer defense is pretty decent. The expertise skill is fairly mediocre, actually. It's just another 10% of stats for archers, and also 2% extra damage to infantry. I mean, I don't know if this garrison would actually have done better as a swap-in once he gets below 50%, but I can definitely see the justification to just stick with Tommy. I will add one small thing that would maybe steer you toward that El Cid swap, is that Cortex was kind of showing how many troops he had of each type left in his city throughout that battle, and all of the infantry and all of the cavalry and all the siege units actually hit the bin first, which makes sense. He's got more archer stats, so those units are going to hang out longer. But given that he had sort of achieved this full archer state, a lot of things are actually possible, but in particular, El Cid starts to, I think, look a little bit more interesting because of that defense and also the stats over here applying to all the units in your city, which are now archers. And I would say the expertise on Tommy is actually still really amazing, but is like ever so slightly less valuable. Anyways, enough nerding out on the commanders. I'm going to flash onto the screen very briefly the talents that Cortex used, and I'll also include on the screen very briefly the equipment that he was using while taking these rallies. If you haven't already, you really should subscribe to the channel to make sure you don't miss my next upload. And also, Cortex streamed this whole thing on his YouTube channel. So I'm going to have a card over here in just a minute that'll take you directly to that stream. Also, you can check out Cortex's channel in the description. I'll have a link, and also in the pinned comment. Go check out the stream with this Kingsland fight. You can see where this all went down, and subscribe to his channel as well. Oh, and if you want to see when my city was rallied, I'll have a little card right up over here in that end credit section as well.